Let me start with college football. So college football week 1 officially underway. We had week 0 and then officially week 1, and it was a wild, wild weekend. Like what it was the first full capacity college football weekend since December of 2019. So you knew there'd be a ton of energy. You know we'd have a little bit of everything. Enter Sandman at Virginia Tech. Jump around at Camp Randall. Sorry about that, Wisco. Man, tough start. You got to tip your hat to Penn State. Meantime, small schools were jumping up to punch big schools in the mouth. Ed Orgeron got some humble pie jammed right down his throat. There was an incredible scene in Tallahassee, and we had the most predictable thing ever, too. All of these things happened over the weekend. You had Montana rising up and shocking number 20 Washington 13-7. You had Tulane going on the road to play a home game in Norman and giving the number 2 Sooners all they could handle. Number 7 Iowa State just did get by Northern Iowa 16-10. And then, of course, you had Fordham, Nebraska. Now, I said earlier in the week that I couldn't believe I had to say it, but that Fordham was an absolute must-win game for the Huskers. I couldn't believe that I had to say it, but I had to say it, and I meant it. Seriously, Husker fan, don't tell me you were not losing your mind at that. Nebraska tied with Fordham in the second quarter. Don't tell me you weren't gripping when that happened. Don't even act like you weren't, because you know you were, and you had every reason to be. After losing at Illinois in Brett Bielema's game, I know you were in full-blown panic mode when the Rams marched 75 yards down the field to tie it up in Lincoln. I mean, one thing to lose to a Big Ten team in their place, but the Fordham Rams coming into your place and being tied in the second quarter? Get the hell out of here with that. You had to be freaking out. Did you even know that Fordham had a football team? Did you even know that Fordham was an actual school? Do you even know where Fordham is? I know Rit doesn't. Hey, Rit, didn't you go 0 for 4 when you opened up your account again? Sorry about that, old man. This is why I never ask for your opinion on gambling, Rit. This is why I never ask for your opinion on anything, Rit, other than sugar. Anyway, here you go, Mr. President. What that was a red alert battle station, DEFCON 1. No, 0 situation.
0.
They were tied with Fordham at home in the second quarter. Of course, Nebraska did go on to rip off 45 straight points, and they took care of their business, but that doesn't mean that you weren't scared. I know you were. I was scared for you because I didn't want to see what life would be like in Lincoln if Nebraska lost to Fordham. Luckily, that's not what happened. Then you have LSU at UCLA, the number 16 Tigers, rolling into the Rose Bowl, and you know they're feeling really good. Really, really good. I mean, like, I'm all in favor of talking junk, but if you are the head coach, I'm not sure you want to get hooked by the fans, nor be shouting things like, quote, bring your ass on in your sissy blue shirt. Yeah, I don't know if you want to be doing that. I mean, I know Big Ed's a little bit different, but you probably don't want to be shouting, bring your ass on in your little sissy blue shirt. You don't want to do that, but you especially do not want to do that and then get your ass kicked up and down the field. It does not take a rocket scientist to know that probably at this point you want to drop that word from your vocab. There's no need for it for so many different reasons. But talking junk about the shade of blue another team wears, and then watching that shade of blue run all over you and break your face. Now that's something. Talking about colors and getting smashed up 38-27 is pretty remarkable. Because the guys rocking the blue jerseys just kicked your ass up and down the field. I mean, come on, Ed. You're better than that. At least I thought you were. You won a national championship like 5 minutes ago. But you're out here acting like a 5-year-old, calling the other guy a sissy. A sissy who just manhandled your ass, averaging better than 7 yards per carry on the ground and holding your team to less than 50 yards rushing. running some of the worst smack ever, then getting hospital jobbed is one of the worst looks ever. Man, what a great win for UCLA and for Chip Kelly and for the entire conference. Honestly, while I didn't necessarily expect UCLA to break LSU's face, I did expect something good from them. I knew it when Chip Kelly was on this program last week. That was the old Chipper. Upbeat, confident. I had not had a conversation like that with Chip in a few years, so I knew that he was feeling good about what he had. Again, what a nice win for Chip and UCLA, and what a terrible loss for LSU. Coach O has now lost 6 of his last 11 games and given up more than 34 points in 4 of those games. UCLA's football team dominated LSU, and then they partied in their locker room, and then they changed the header of their Twitter page to an image of a blue shirt that read "Sissy Blue" across the front of it, and then tweeted out, "Peep the header." That's incredible. Man, that is good. Really strong. As long as we're talking about incredible, you're not going to find a better moment than Mackenzie Milton coming into the game for FSU and leading them all the way back to tying Notre Dame and sending that game to overtime. Unless, of course, you hit Notre Dame minus 5.5. And even then, it's still an amazing story. Is that what you did too, Rit? Did you have Notre Dame? Yep, I figured. If you don't know Milton's story, here's a brief summary. Dude nearly lost his leg. That's the story. That's the summary. A Heisman contender at UCF before suffering one of the most grotesque injuries you will ever see. In November 2018, he suffered a dislocated knee, torn ligaments, nerve damage, and artery damage. I repeat, nearly lost his leg. I mean, not nearly lost his career, nearly lost his leg. He was told that he'd be lucky to walk again without pain and that football was pretty much out of the question. Yet there he was, entering the game with the starting quarterback lost because his helmet came off. What an amazing, amazing moment. And then even more amazing, he did not leave the game after that play. He stayed in, he led the Noles on a TD drive and then on a game-tying drive the next time out. Like the most Hollywood thing ever. The guy coming off the bench, having not played a game in more than 1,000 days, and getting his team in a position to upset a top 10 team in the first game after Bobby Bowden's passing. I mean, it was all right there. That script was writing itself until Notre Dame somehow dug in and won in overtime. Honestly, I don't even care. I'm normally the ultimate scoreboard guy, but that moment Sunday night was one of the biggest goosebump moments you're ever going to see. I mean, really inspiring stuff. Really awesome stuff. The kind of moment that feels like only college football can bring you. But then there's the other side of what college football can bring you. The other side being Alabama. Relentlessly Alabama. I mean, look at these guys. They lose Mac Jones to the Patriots. They lose the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith, to the Eagles. They lose Najee Harris to the Steelers. 3 of the top 5 in last year's Heisman voting. And that's just the start. There's no Jalen Waddle. The best center in college football is gone. So is the Outland Trophy winner, Alex Leatherwood. And by the way, so is the offensive coordinator. I mean, that is so much talent. So much talent and so much experience to lose. Nobody loses that kind of talent, that kind of continuity without taking a step back. Not even Bama, right? Not even Bama. So you got to think coming in, they're going to be vulnerable against number 14 Miami. Even if Miami QB De'Ara King was not 100%, right? Got to be vulnerable. You had to be looking at that, and especially all those points and thinking, man, I'll tell you what, I'm looking at the Canes because Bama is vulnerable, right? They never, ever take a step back. Never. Not under the machine that is one Nicholas Lou Saban Jr. Number 1, Bama, 44. Number 14, Miami, 13. Bryce Young, 344 yards, 4 TDs in his first career start. How many times do you see this with Bama? Guys that would start anywhere else early on, just wait and wait and wait and bide their time. And I'm just being the quarterback. And then when they finally get the opportunity, just lights out. The offense had 501 total yards. They were so good, they made Bill O'Brien look good. That's not easy. You know how tough that is? And do you know how predictable that is as well? Like, I don't want to say the season is over before the season even starts, but if Bama is beating an alleged top 15 team by 31 in their first game with all the talent they lost, what chance does anybody else have? Yes, it's only one game, but all I need is that one game to know that it is Bama and everybody else pretty much per usual.